What are you saying? So we're going to start this podcast talking about plant medicine, just like all my other podcasts. I love it.
Is that how you start most of your podcasts?
The last one, it turned out like that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's up?
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thanks for being on. So tell everyone a little bit about you, and then we'll jump back to plant medicine.
Okay, absolutely. That sounds good. So I'm Kristin. I'm a holistic health coach, and I'm also a Pilates instructor. I also own a small business called Casually Social, where I do social media marketing and digital marketing for some small businesses in the Cleveland area. But my primary focus right now is definitely on the holistic health coaching and Pilates.
Okay, that's awesome. Why? Why is that your focus?
You know, I think that that's where my passion lies. So Casually Social, I started a few years ago, and it's been an absolute blessing. It really does tap into my creative side. I do consider myself a creative. But as somebody who has had like a lifelong almost experience of chronic health issues, I have found that my pain and some of those dark days have really become more of my purpose to try to help others heal on their journey as well. And Pilates is part of that. Pilates has been part of my personal health healing journey.
Is that how it started?
Yeah. So to be honest, I would say that a lot of my health issues started in childhood. I feel like I was always the girl with like a sensitive stomach. And just as I got older, it just felt like, you know, going to the doctor, it was like, oh, you have IBS. That's just all it is. You know, it's just a write-off. Oh, I would say that really started just young in childhood, probably younger than around 10. But I did grow up in a little bit of like childhood trauma. I had a very rough upbringing. And so I think that plays a part, as we know today. I think
you're the only one. So what kind of upbringing?
That's how we can feel sometimes.
Everyone, right? We can all agree that everyone's trauma comes from childhood. So 100%. What was yours? Was it like parents, school?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my mom was a single mom mostly growing up. But, you know, we lived in women's shelters. Yeah.
In what cities?
Cleveland. Yeah. So, and just a little bit of, there was just some, it just wasn't stable, you know? And so, and then I think at the same time too, as we're learning as well, like, I mean, I grew up on a lot of processed foods, which I think really plays a role. Connected. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, you're right. Like we all have a little bit of some play with childhood. But I think really my health issues got progressively worse still as I started to get older, and I saw more of that gut health piece transition into some more hormonal pieces as well, and some hypothyroidism. And it really just set me on a path to try to advocate for myself and figure out, you know, what was going on in my body. And so it really just made me go into the research and really get to root cause. And I read a book by Ryan Holiday, The Obstacle is the Way. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like if the obstacle is the way, then maybe I can take a lot of these dark days and pain points and then turn them into purpose. And instead of just helping myself heal, I can help others along their path to heal as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. When did you have that perspective?
Honestly, that probably was only within the last few years.
So before that, from 10 to
I just managed symptoms, you know, and just dealt with things.
20 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
For 20 years.
Just dealt with the idea that like, okay, I'm just a girl with like a sensitive stomach. I'm just a girl who can't eat such and such. I can't do this, you know, a lot of limiting beliefs, to be completely honest, you know, things that kind of
That's what it is, right? They tell you at 10.
Gosh, yeah. I'm so big into the limiting beliefs and understanding that. We should talk about that.
That's I think what it's all about, absolutely.
It is like those fear-based thoughts and such.
Yeah, from even when you first pick up language.
Yeah.
We all pick up these limiting beliefs.
Yeah, we really do. And it is a journey of like figuring those out and releasing them. And I think also having forgiveness for some of them and acceptance and moving beyond them and realizing they no longer serve you.
Yeah. So those are all big concepts for someone who doesn't know how to do it, right? Like, how do you release? Like, it's not that easy.
No, it's really not. So to be honest, it's funny because in learning about everything with health coaching, yes, I'm very big into gut health. I'm very big into hormone health, but I actually really love the nervous system regulation piece. And also, I think this component of releasing limiting beliefs as well has been pivotal on my healing journey. And so to me, the things that I have found that really help with that would be EFT tapping, and I would say journaling as well. I'm a big meditator, so I do meditation every day, multiple times
what does that look like?
I wake up every day and I have my little morning routine. I think it's super important that we all have some sort of morning routine that grounds us and gets us ready and sets us up for the day. But I do the Open app every single day.
So you wake up and then you open up your phone and the Open app.
For the first thing I really do for my morning routine is I get up, I do a little bit of skincare, get myself going. I put my Pilates clothes on, and I actually start with movement. So I get on the mat and I do 20 minutes of Pilates. And it's incredible what you can actually accomplish in a 20-minute session of Pilates. I stand firmly behind that you don't need to do an hour workout to make it effective. Consistency is what matters. And so I love a 20-minute movement to get my mind and my body ready for the day.
Yeah. It's different. For me, Pilates would be tough. I actually just did Qigong.
You should do Pilates.
Well, now I'm doing Thai yoga and Qigong.
Wow.
So Qigong I did the other day, and for 45 minutes, and after 30, I was already like, I wanted to sit down and rest. And you're not moving a lot.
Yeah, no, you're not. But you're challenging muscles in a different way.
In a different way.
In a completely different way.
In a different way. So Pilates, talk about that. When did you first start that?
So I've been doing Pilates for probably, I want to say like 5 years. I really got big into it, though, when I developed hypothyroidism. So kind of like we talked about, always had the sensitive stomach growing up as a kid. And then as I got older, those gut health issues transitioned into, well, now I have hypothyroidism and struggling with some hormonal issues. And that's when I learned that I needed to find more low impact workouts that weren't creating more cortisol and stressing my body out. My body was already stressed. And so I needed to find movement that honored my body where it was at that point. And so I had switched. It's really big, I think, just for everyone, but like women especially, to learn that, some of the ideas that we've had around working out may not be serving them. But yeah, so I got into Pilates and I fell in love with it. Mat Pilates specifically, because it was something that I could do from the comfort of my home. And I found, Pilates challenges every part of your body. It really does. And it is a low impact movement that's it's just creating long, lean muscle. It's helping with your spinal health. It's got so many benefits. And so...
Okay, and you're doing mat Pilates, so maybe you could come in here and do a little session. Yeah.
I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah, so mat Pilates is great because you're using your body weight too.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of benefit to that. There is Reformer, which I love Reformer, but...
Can you still do that?
So I don't teach that right now, but I do, I am starting at a studio actually that has Reformer, and I am getting certified in Reformer.
Okay,
so
cool.
I'm going to teach both, but my initial love was for sure for mat. And so I found that was a huge piece of my healing journey. And so I got certified.
So it started with Pilates and food?
Yeah. It's funny. 100% I would say food is really important an important component on a healing journey. But I think in health coaching, I have really learned we have our primary food and we have our secondary food, right? And our secondary food is actually what we actually put on our plate. And yes, it's super important that we're eating whole foods and we're eating the foods that, you know, honor our bio individuality. But we got to actually look at those primary food components that look at our stress levels. They look at how are we living our lives? Are we living in alignment with who we are? What are the relationships in our
that's
life?
what your primary food is.
That's primary food.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's really looking at that. How are you moving your body?
Yeah.
You know, I think we have this.
If I would put a number on it, I would not say it's 50-50. I would say your primary food could even be as high as 90-10.
Yes.
Because if you're doing all that right, I mean, I'm not the perfect eater, honestly. I mean, now I'm better. Well, I was vegan for 2.5 years, but then when I got off, it was like, no, I wasn't like, yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. How did you find that worked for your body?
It was good. It was what I needed. It was after my first ayahuasca experience, which we were going to talk about plant medicine, but I guess, you know, now we're just sprinkling it in. Yeah, after my first ayahuasca experience, I did go vegan for 2.5 years.
Wow. I think we all maybe have that experience. I was vegan for a little while.
It's like, but I was taught to listen to my body too.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's the thing about food. I stand behind that how we eat and how we live, it's all bio-individual. So it's very hard to say, hey, this food is really great. You should really eat a lot of this food to everyone because it may not actually serve that person's body. It can be a superfood. It could be a healthy food, but it may not sit well with that person. So it is actually finding the foods and I don't want to say diet, but that serves you. And I will always stand behind. I think there are
secondary food. Yeah,
I will stand behind that there obviously are some core components that we understand. Let's crowd out the processed foods. We shouldn't be doing that. We know that those are really not good for us. Sticking to whole foods. I think a lot of plant-based foods, really trying to get more of almost that Mediterranean diet in there. Considering, yes, protein and getting healthy fats in, things like that. I think there are some staple ideas, but you really do have to honor what foods sit with your body and what diet works well for you.
100%.
But that primary food component, it's interesting to me that I feel like we have such a focus today on, well, just what I'm eating, but then we ignore the parts of, well, I'm in a really unhealthy relationship, or I'm surrounded by toxic friendships, or I'm not working at a job that's serving me and I'm very stressed, or, any of those pieces. And so health is multidimensional. It's not just one piece. You could be taking all the supplements in the world and you could be eating the cleanest diet and you can still be struggling with your health. And so that's personally something that I want to do, is to help people to navigate their journey and find out, hey, what's the missing component here where we can really help you get the most out of your wellness journey? And I think we actually all have the answer inside of us. We just need somebody to help us to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Create the space for the information to come out.
It's in us. It's in 100%. Us. We all know.
We all know.
Yeah, we do. And
we all know. And support. Sometimes we just need support.
We do. It's interesting. There's a lot of studies on just having that healthy support system and having, I think, that community. Having somebody who believes in you and sits across from you and is like, hey, we're going to get through it. That actually helps you even more to have success. We don't need to do this journey alone. And I
can't.
No, you can't. But it can feel very lonely.
Absolutely. Because it's your pain and you're the only one that can go through it. That's why.
Yeah. It can feel isolating. But we know that we heal better when we have somebody in our corner. And so that's where, as a health coach, like, I want to come in. I had many days of crying and feeling so alone in my health journey. Many nights of praying and not understanding, why is this still going on? And there was a lot of different pieces that I think played into it.
Such as?
You know, I think I wasn't living in alignment with who I was. I had to make a lot of like personal choices that were hard, but they brought me on the other side of things. And I really do believe I have a very strong faith. And I really do believe that God can take these dark times and he can bring light to them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's like my purpose. I feel like my purpose is to share this journey with somebody else and help somebody else to not feel alone on their journey.
Yeah.
And to combine, I think, my love for Pilates and the health coaching. So I think I have a primary focus towards more female, a more female audience, just being a woman.
Sure.
And so I want to be able to take my love for this low impact movement and combine it with the helping somebody to heal and through nervous system regulation, tapping into their gut, looking at hormone health, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so morning routine, start on the mat,
Okay,
Pilates mat.
Yes, we need to bring it back. Yeah, so I start on the mat. 20 minutes. I feel incredible. It wakes me up, gets my head right, my mind right. And then from there, I get my warm lemon water with Celtic sea salt, or I do an adrenal cocktail, which has some vitamin C in it. Really just helps my adrenals out. I do some light when we have it in Cleveland. Just
like you go outside.
Yeah,
you go outside.
I open up the sliding door
and stick your head
and
out.
I just stick my head out there. Yeah, because it's so
long?
important. I try to do it. It just depends on the weather. If it's warm, I'm going to do it for 10 minutes. If it's not, I'm going.
What if 5? So I drive every morning.
Yeah.
Does that count?
That doesn't count because
that doesn't
you have.
Count?
No, it doesn't.
What if I roll down my window down?
If you're sticking your head out that window.
No, what if my window's just down? There's the sun. I was thinking about that today.
Yeah, no, you actually have to get the actual light exposure because the windows will block it.
Okay, so I can roll my window down.
You can, and you need to look. Because
and I need to look while I'm driving. Good thing I got, well, no.
Yeah, I hope you're an excellent driver.
No, I have self-drive, but I don't think if I steer to the left,
Please
it's going to know.
I mean,
I'm going to try right after this podcast.
I can't have people now getting in car accidents because I said to do this. I think you'd be best outside the car, but
okay, so you stick your head out.
It's important because this helps our cortisol. So when we're waking up,
what about if I take my dog for walks all the time?
That's perfect. No, that's beautiful. So I love that because you're actually getting morning movement, but you're getting that natural sunlight, and that's getting your cortisol ready for the day. It's just getting that natural circadian rhythm. And for women, this is so important too. It's going to help our hormones if you're getting that natural light exposure. So I will do that. And then after that, I head to do my journaling. And so
what does that look like?
I'm a big journaling person.
How many pages a day?
I have multiple journaling. So it just varies. I will switch things up.
And when you're journaling, you're talking to yourself, God.
Yeah, it just depends on the type of journaling I'm doing. I love the 5-minute gratitude journal. I might do that one. Right now, I've really been focusing in on more of my prayer journal. So I do my devotional, and then I will write out like the scripture verse and what I got from that scripture verse. And then I begin writing out I am statements because I am very big on affirmations. But, especially in my prayer journal, I believe, in the Bible, God is always saying I am. And so there's a lot of power behind an I am statement. So I like to write out I am. And I write,
because you are God too.
Yeah, I mean, the Creator lives in us, right?
Yeah.
We are one with the Spirit.
Exactly.
We co-create with God. I'm very big on that. I'm very big on manifesting and co-creating with God. I believe we bring the desires of our heart to him, and then we surrender and release them to him. But if I step into my future self and I step into this is who I am, then I can manifest what I'm going after. So I do write my I am statements, and then I write out gratitudes that I have, because gratitude is a high frequency to operate from. And we can rewire our brain when we are really tapping into gratitude. So I do that, and then I will visualize my day. So I will actually... I will visualize. I visualize today. I visualize our conversation. And
if I visualize today, I think so.
And I write out if it was the best, if everything goes exactly how I want it to go, this is how it's going to be today. And I write it out. And
but are you okay if it doesn't go that way? Or you like think
you gotta release a little bit, right? You gotta surrender it. You can't plan everything, but I do visualize like, this is how I'm going to be today, this is how I'm going to show up with this today. And then from there, then I do my meditation. So then I do my open app meditation, and now it's time for breakfast and coffee. Open app? Oh my gosh, you don't do the open app?
I do not. This is like Calm.
It's one of my absolute favorite apps.
Open
I feel
app,
like this is a shout out to Open.
Yeah,
truly very, very good.
If you guys want to, invest in Zero Doubt Clubs.
I know, honestly, they have a very big community, a big following right now at this point. They probably don't even need me to shout them out. But yeah, Pivotal, probably one of my top used apps. So last year I started into my meditation journey, and I made it a goal that I was going to meditate every single day. And so I use the Open app to do that. And I continue to do that. I do it multiple times a day. But they have meditation. They have breath work. One of my favorite breath work practices is a humming practice, a humming session. I use those all the time because that's really helping your vagus nerve and building that vagal tone. And you can really put yourself into a parasympathetic.
And it opens up your throat chakra.
Yes. Listen to you.
What's up with this? Listen to me. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. 100%. So, and
that's what we're working on here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the whole point
Just
of all
working.
of this.
Yeah. I think that's a big piece. So yeah, then after that, now it's time for breakfast and some coffee. And then I go about my day.
That's great. I love the visualizing, the day throughout the entire day. Still though, the release of the day is challenging, huh?
So, it's funny because I really find myself this year. I thought about at the beginning of the year, I was like, what do I feel like is my word or the theme for this year? And I think last year was I had a lot of transitions. Great, hard, but brought me to beautiful places. And this year, I feel like I have felt like my word was surrender. And I continue to learn about surrendering, because I can be like this. I can be a control person.
Yeah. Well, I got the thing for you. You know how we started the podcast with the plant medicine?
Yes.
That's what that will help you to do.
I think, you know what, we probably need to talk about that, because I can be very much...
This is what we're all dealing with right now.
Is the idea of control.
Letting go of the entire past. And the past that you can't even feel or see, but it's there. It's you're unconscious from the program and all that. Yeah. It's tough.
But the control, not just of the past, but the control of the future.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of the same thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think, you're right. Like, we all struggle with that. But I'm learning surrendering, and part of surrendering is trusting myself. Trusting
Why
God.
Why don't you trust yourself?
Well, I think when we really think about it, and you really take a journey of tapping into yourself, the idea of control can you trust yourself to make the right choices and the right decisions in every moment? Can you trust God to guide you on your path? I think for me, like it is like an idea of, hey, I just have to have faith and I have to have trust. Because I think at the end of the day, that's.
But why do you have to have that if you feel it more than anything?
Feeling the trust,
yeah,
or the tapping into that, or
like you're seeing your journey and how you're evolving and becoming this, and you visualize this person of yourself.
Yeah.
So you have a vision of yourself. Okay. Does that person trust themselves?
That's such a deep question. I think so. What I'm observing in myself is that, yes, I'm such a dreamer. Here's the thing about me. I'm such a dreamer, but I am somebody.
What's your biggest dream?
Oh, gosh.
I want to hear it.
That I have so many dreams.
No, I want to hear your biggest one.
Okay. My biggest dream. So I guess I would say my biggest dream, I see myself waking up and I have a day full of clients that I'm going to be meeting with for the health coaching. And I'm going to sit across from them, and it just feels life-giving to be able to help them, and they feel like close relationships. And from there, I go about my day and I teach Pilates. And to be honest, my biggest dream is so simple. And I'm in a healthy relationship and there's love and I'm surrounded by that. And I think too, I have a vision of living a very different life. So in a few years, I can imagine myself living somewhere like Italy or something like that. That's a big dream of mine too.
So coaching some online.
Yeah. And I'd like to, I just, right now the focus is I really want to launch into my health coaching and my Pilates. And so that's like a very big dream of mine right now. But I'll be honest, I'm also simple. So I really love the simple things of life. So when you talk about like my big dream, it's like, it's a big dream, but it's also very simple too. I want to garden. Yep. I love gardening. I want to go I'm going on a walk in nature. Like it's everyday things, but it's purposeful. There's purpose behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a dreamer, but I will go after it. That's the thing about me. I'm determined.
Okay, so what you just explained is a great short-term vision, short-ish term vision. You have clients, okay, but I'm talking about, have you had the dream of you've helped hundreds of thousands of people?
Absolutely. But to be honest, though, too, yeah, like of course I want to work with as many people as possible. But I'm also kind of like, but if I can just help even that one person, I'm going to feel successful.
Okay, so have you helped one person?
Oh, yeah. I feel like I have.
Okay,
and I'm grateful for that.
Why don't you trust yourself all the time?
Oh, I do think I trust myself. I do believe I trust myself. I just think that with the control thing, I just believe that control does tap into a little bit of, hey, I trust me. I trust God. I trust this process of where I'm going, that I'm going to get exactly where I want to be. So that's all I'm saying, is that I think it comes down to a level of trust.
Yeah, so you have it.
You're right.
You have it. Why is it so hard to say that you have it?
You're right. No, I do. I guess
so
I do have trust.
To say that to yourself all the time.
I think it's like, it's about that, again, it's that surrendering of like, okay, so this is my dream. This is what I want. I think I can have it. I know I can have it. But it's going like this and releasing it. That's so hard because you just want to be like, I just want to grab onto it and hold it.
So you're saying because it's not happening now.
But I do think it's happening now.
Okay,
I do see it happening now.
So you have trust in the process of life.
I do. I think too, what's been really cool, part of like the visualizing and even doing like the EFT that I've been doing, releasing limiting beliefs, tapping into my elevated self, it has been rewiring. It rewires your brain to be able to see the things that are happening and coming your way along that process. And when you express gratitude for it, it continues, right? And I have been seeing even this conversation here right now. What a blessing.
Exactly. Right. That's
what a blessing.
I'm saying. So
it's aligning. It's alignment.
To say I trust, but not to experience the trust of life are two different things. That's why it's so hard for us sometimes to trust. Well, I shouldn't say. What I'm trying to say is, like, back in the day, I definitely didn't have trust because I didn't see how life was moving accordingly. Now, because in my past, the past 8-9 years, I'm seeing how manifestation happens, how healing happens. I'm experiencing God, divine, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So having full trust in that through experiences is super important. And you're having them. So that's it. And then you're right, because we're rewired for that old thinking still, and we have to fix that in our brain, which is just a computer. But deep down in your core, you have full trust.
I do. That's beautiful. You've really pulled that out of me, and I really appreciate that. I do have full trust for myself. You're right. I really do. I think we should talk about the manifestation thing, because this is actually a new thing for me.
Okay.
It is actually, it's actually new, because I love it. I'm really into it. I think I used to believe that like life was just happening just around us. I still do believe in the idea of fate. I do. But I love the idea that we're co-creators and that we can co-create with God, universe, whatever you want to call it, source. We could bring the desires of our heart and we can make those things happen. It's not just about like, this is what I want, and then we don't take those actions. Like, you have to take those actions like in alignment. You have to take those steps that align with it, and you have to say no to what doesn't. And there are things that are going to pop up that I think are going to challenge what you're manifesting and what you're going after. And you have to decide, does this align with what I'm going after? Yeah,
absolutely. So what you're saying is 100% true. And that's so you and God, I know there's the religious separation of God. You are one, right? Like you said in the beginning, that you're a piece of God. You're a piece of God. You're challenging yourself. God is challenging you. And that's why these challenges are popping up in life, because you can either wait and play the role of, quote unquote, a human being that forgot the connection, or you can make the action and create. And that's the whole point of us here. And when these challenges come up, if you choose create, you'll see the creation fast. So you want these challenges. We want these challenges.
How long have you been part of the manifesting? Have you been doing
Since 2000, my whole life.
Wow.
I manifested everything. So have you. But I haven't really seen
what did you...
I haven't really seen it until I would say end of 2016.
Wow.
Tragedy took where my wife got diagnosed with cancer. We were in a relationship where I was not there for her emotionally because I was still running from the past. Then I tear my bicep in the gym. It was a wake-up call. I got healthier.
Wow.
She ended up passing away.
I'm so sorry.
But before that, I made the decision that I was going to help others.
Yeah.
And then when I made that decision, help myself, help others, kind of like you. And then it was just one after another, sign after sign. I saw this truck driving. The biggest thing that really shifted everything, and listeners who have listened to this podcast now this will be like the 10th time. But I'm driving down. Exactly. You're right. I'm driving down to the casino, end of 2019. I'm listening to my first spiritual book.
What was the book?
Spirit Hacking.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and I started getting emotional. And I was zero emotions for my whole life.
Wow.
I made a decision somewhere around the age of like 8 or 9 that I would not cry anymore.
Wow.
And
wow. That's
so I started getting emotional, and then this truck drives by, big truck, and it's a spirit right on the side of it. And I hear from my higher self to sign up for this health and life coaching certification that I was looking on for a year.
Wow.
And just living in the left, picking the side where, you're given this.
That's incredible.
So I made that decision, started meditating every day also.
Wow.
And then
look at that.
and then like 2 months in, just went back to childhood events and just cried for the first time for 30 minutes.
That's so part of the process. I think we don't realize. So first of all, thank you for sharing that with me. That's a beautiful story. I didn't know that story. And so I'm that one person who didn't hear it. So thank you.
Well, hold on. Let me just finish where like I saw this. And all that. So again, in meditation, 2 weeks later now, I see the future me standing on stage, thousands of people. And I was a person who feared public speaking, and I surrendered to it. I let go again, bawled, made the decision I would never drink alcohol again.
Amazing.
And gave up because I was a professional poker for 15 years, which is super toxic and negative.
Yeah.
And wanted to get out of that for a long time. And I made this decision that I would never play poker again. And 2 days later, I meet my mentor, who was like this master coach, Sean G. Murphy, and I was on his call for a year straight. The pandemic happened.
Wow.
And then just stuff like I was working out with bands in my little condo gym. I had nothing else. And that's where I saw I would have a gym. So talk about manifestation. And then, so...
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. I love that though. I just think it is interesting when you start to see those signs, and they do come along the way, and they're leading you on the path, right? And that's incredible. I'm that one person who did not know your story.
You're not that one person.
I am that one person though. I didn't
There's
know.
8.5 billion people.
That's amazing. So I think with the manifestation, it's a little bit, it's newer for me. But I'm really enjoying the journey. And so as far as books, you got to send me all your books, because I'm very big into that. I love reading. I'm always reading.
Gene Keys.
Okay.
That's my favorite book.
Okay. Yeah.
By Richard Rudd. I'll send it.
Okay. You send it to me. Wow. Amazing. Oh, I love that story.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, now you're seeing the manifestation. When you see it, that's it. You can surrender to that. This is how God and the universe works. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's your core. That's your core. Because if you're manifesting, if you're a creator, then what are you?
Yeah. You're so right.
You got to live out your dream.
Yeah. And I mean, I share my dream with you, and I know you asked my big dream, and I mean, part of me still holds it a little bit personally and close, but very similar, to I think what you're kind of speaking about. But I do believe
that you want to write books and stand up.
No.
That's what I was getting at before.
No. I mean,
right.
For sure. I think.
So I'll tell you a quick story about that.
Yeah.
So with the calls that I was on with my mentor, it was every day, and the camera was on. It was a Zoom call. And I think maybe about 6 months in, I was in a funk, super funk. I was cleaning my house and listening to the call with headphones on. And he's like, we're gonna do a little meditation. And I'm like, oh, okay, we haven't done one in a while. So I sit down, still headphones on, and I'm just sitting there and close my eyes, and he's like, all right, just imagine you're walking down this dirt road, and in front of you, fear pops up. What does it look like? What does the fear look like? And then all you do is you step to the right of it, keep walking, get back on the road, another one pops up. I think by the third fear, all of a sudden I just start bawling, because I see myself writing books.
I love that you are going to do that.
And I was resisting that. Resisting that. And that meditation gave me that vision. And it was a huge release, and it was healing. So when we have this dream of potentially doing something, we got to go deep in it. And If you can envision it, that means it could be done.
Oh my God, I love that. And you brought me back to something that I wanted to touch on, because I think that this is so important. It's something that I have been really learning is we don't realize. So you've kind of talked a little bit about releasing emotion, right? And again, the limiting beliefs thing, which I'm very big on too, is finding what those limiting beliefs are that are holding you back, and the fear, approaching the fear that we have. Because I will say I'm somebody who doesn't, right? But like I'm prone to anxiety. I'm prone to those fears. And we do have to go against those fears, because they do come back to almost a limiting belief. And I have found myself in a place where I'm having to look a little bit at either childhood. This is where this came from. So when you talked about trust, I realized that in my childhood, I didn't have a lot of trust. I didn't have a lot of safety. And I didn't have a lot of people that I knew I could count on and trust. And so I couldn't surrender. I needed to control. I had to control my environment. And because that was the only way that I had any sense of stability, was through the control. And so I am learning to have to rewire and have to approach that and get rid of that. But I also think it's incredible how much our bodies hold on to emotion. And so part of a healing journey and even chronic illness, there is the emotional aspect where we're holding on to emotional baggage that's inside of us. And sometimes our body will actually have us develop these chronic health issues so that we don't have to go inward and have to look at those painful things. Instead, we can find safety in our chronic illness. And so we really do have to go inward, and we have to release the emotion. I have found myself where sometimes I'm like, I will do a meditation or I will do a visualization, and I will be tapping into my heart and I will start crying.
Yeah.
And it's like the release I absolutely needed. I needed to release that.
Yeah.
So I like wholeheartedly believe that. And I love that you're in touch with that.
Yeah. Well, our entire body is a mind. So childhood trauma is always remembered because it's stored in the body as a frequency, a vibration, an entity. So everything is spiritual. Nothing is solid, right? So we have God in everything. So when there's this frequency that gets trapped into our body, it's going to cause all the diseases. Okay, there's nothing that you did. It's just something that was put into your body, and you have to go deep. We have to go deep, and we're designed to release it though. Like none of it is bad. These traumas are not bad. These traumas are what lead to us standing on stage and writing books. So if you've had a trauma, that means that you can write a book.
Yeah.
Any trauma, you can write a book. You just have to go through that, and everyone's journey's different, how we go through it. Like mine is super wild. When I do plant medicines, again, we're going back to that.
Is that where we'll end? We'll end
probably.
The plant medicine.
Mine is super wild. It's so deep that you can't even put language on it. But like my trauma even started before birth, right? Just like yours. Well, so how do you deal with it? How do you deal with fear and all that stuff? You have to get it out of your body, though. It's in your body, and then it pairs to the mind, and that's what causes anxiety. So you can even have anxiety, you don't even know why. You know, there's still some times where like I'll have like a mini panic attack, and I don't even know why, because everything is stored in the body. So we're all working on this healing journey. It'll never end. But every time you go through it, you feel joy, bliss, because that's the natural state of where we're heading. So do the work if you want to feel this amazing feeling. Like, who cares even so much about the manifestation and that? Like, we just want to feel amazing.
Yeah, 100%. So tell me, because now I'm curious, because you're speaking my language. This is something I've been so interested in, and really I've been doing a lot of work in.
And there's no coincidences.
There are no coincidences. So yeah, I do the EFT tapping. I do the meditation. I love the visualization. And I've also been tapping into, it's called Journal Speak. I will have to get the name of the book where I learned about this, but it is essentially about like just dumping it on the page, dumping everything on the page, just writing and going with it. No matter how it sounds, releasing it, even if you're, saying things that you don't want someone else to know about, but you're genuinely for 20 minutes just journaling and releasing it, and then you're ripping up and you're getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And so there is that. What do you find is the best way for you to release some of that trauma or some of that emotion that you've been storing inside your body?
Just doing this, the work that I'm doing, pushing myself, like anytime, like even like sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm doing a podcast, like maybe have some nerves or questions about it. Do it. Go through it. You have to go through anything that puts your body in a different state other than being calm, right? Because the more that you do that, the more you kick it out.
Yes.
The more you kick it out.
Your body and your nervous system wants to keep you safe, which means it wants to also keep you stuck in what it knows.
It wants you to not move because you're so used to not moving as a child, right? Because fear kicks in or like something happens and you're so tense, right? So it's just that.
But they think that's also where the chronic illness component comes in.
100%. All of it.
Because
every disease.
Think about every disease, right? But even myself included. So I can give just a personal touch on it. It's like when I'm starting to feel symptoms creep in, the very thing I want to do is lay in my bed and be to myself, because it's where I feel comforted. And so I have to ask myself, what do these symptoms get me? What do these symptoms, what are they prompting me to do? And it is about, because your body wants to keep you in what it knows. And so you may feel fear, and you probably will. Joe Dispenza is huge. I love Joe Dispenza, but he talks about when you are trying to change your life and you're doing this work, get ready, because you're gonna feel uncomfortable. And it's very hard, because you could take those cues and you can think, oh, that's not the way I'm supposed to go. But the very resistance you're feeling, the very fear you are feeling, the very uncomfortable place that you're feeling is the way you are supposed to go.
Yes.
And it is hard work.
It is hard work.
It's been a hard journey.
It is a hard journey. But that's why like you said in the beginning, you can't do it alone.
No, you can't. And that is exactly where I have really been feeling called to this, and I have really been on this path. And I'm like, this is something so interesting to me. And I actually had a friend just message me yesterday, and it was so encouraging. She was just talking about a journey that she's taking. And she was like, I said, gosh, I would love to take this journey with you. We could really talk about some of those limiting beliefs that you have, and we could really release some of that. And she was like, yeah, I want to move beyond who I was in the past. And I said, I think we actually have to find forgiveness for who you were in the past and work through that. And she was so kind, and she was like, you already inspire me. And that made me feel so good. But I want to be on that journey with somebody to help them to get through that, because I think that is a huge piece of healing ourselves. So that's why when we talk about the primary food, secondary food, we've got the food, we've got the 95%, supplements.
Now we move that.
It's great. Yeah. But that emotional component, that nervous system component, I actually, when you talk about hearing, you heard from God or you saw that sign from God, I would say it was probably a year and a half ago where I was really struggling with my health at a peak time of it being really tough, and I'm just thinking
tough relationships.
It was definitely I had some transitional stuff.
That's
there.
How all of us through relationships see this transition. I mean,
I didn't realize I was stuck in something. I had been stuck for a really long time, and I had been allowing things that were no longer serving me. I couldn't understand why I was stuck in so many symptoms when I was doing everything. But then I had a realization that I had been stuck in something that I knew was no longer working. But that's
and then
tough.
you started healing, huh?
I had to make tough decisions. Very tough decisions. But I also had felt at that time, because I had just told myself, I just have gut health issues. I've got health issues. And I all of a sudden heard, you don't have gut health issues, you have a nervous system issue.
Wow, you heard that.
I heard it's a nervous system issue.
You heard that from yourself.
I did. It's a dysregulated nervous system issue.
What were you doing at the time?
I wasn't doing meditation. I wasn't doing any of that stuff at the time.
No,
all I was doing was controlling my gut.
When you heard it.
Oh, I was honestly, I think I was just in my kitchen, sitting at the kitchen table, just probably ruminating on what was going on, trying to take every supplement, trying to control my diet, trying to control all of this and not understanding why is my gut not getting any better. And it just really, I heard it where it was like, you don't have a gut health issue, you have a nervous system issue.
Wow.
And truly last year was a very pivotal year for me in transitioning, and very difficult decisions were made. But as soon as I made those decisions, I saw a lot of things change. And that's when we talk about primary food.
Yep.
That's primary food. That's what's most important. Yeah. Our plates are important. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But if you're not living in alignment, you're not going to heal. If you're not taking care of your nervous system, you're not going to heal. If you're not, all of those different things. And so.
But it's hard, but isn't it not crazy, but amazing that it's that easy too? I mean, you have to make hard decisions.
It is.
You know that. But if you're in a bad relationship and you get out of that bad relationship and you instantly start healing.
You do. I do think, though, it's a journey to healing, though, too. Because now you're having to, I mean, at least for me, I had to uncover a lot of things, and work through a lot of things. And that's actually not something I always share about, because it is so personal and private.
The more you share that, the faster you'll heal.
And I do like to be transparent because I think that you need to be authentic. I think for me, though, too, I try to honor the other person, though.
You are honoring the other person.
Because I will always care for that person.
Yeah, you are honoring.
Yeah. I do feel like the minute I also made that decision, I saw a lot of other things all of a sudden just fall into place. People. And it was crazy with that one decision, how so many other things changed.
Mm-hmm.
Not easy process, but still.
You made the biggest decisions.
I made a very big decision.
If you're sitting there, I'm not saying you, whoever's listening, and you're sitting there stuck in a decision that is hard, important, you're not sure.
Yeah.
Go deep.
Yeah,
go deep in it.
You need to.
In that. If your body's telling you the thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's not even your mind. Your mind probably wanted to stay in the relationship.
Oh, no, 100%.
Your body, though, is telling you to go.
No, and it was years. It was years of knowing. And years of symptoms and years of pushing it down. I just didn't realize it was that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I did, but I was ignoring it. And until it got to a point where I literally felt like I was in the fire. And I again felt like, Kristin, you have a choice. You can tap out of this fire and you can stick to the same. And you can continue on the same path, or you can stay in the fire and you can allow change. And we could be molded in the fire, and I can make it the hardest decision I've ever made. But I will see the change. And so it was really uncomfortable. And I lost a lot of other relationships from that one. And that was hard, but I found myself. And that's the most important relationship.
Boom. There it is. I think you're going to be a great relationship coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's going to be your niche.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Because honestly,
there's a lot of unhealthy relationships out there, and people are stuck. Who can they talk to?
Yeah.
But now they can talk to you.
No, I agree with that. I think for a long time, again, I thought, I'm going to help with just like the gut health. And I do, I love gut health, but it's been this
secondary.
It's secondary. It's so secondary. And I think not just, when we look at relationships, it's relationships across the board. It's friendships. It's who you have in your life. I've experienced a lot of hurt in the last year through relationships. And that was very difficult, but I am grateful, and I'm in such a good place now. And gosh, I'm just filled with gratitude, and yeah, that lights me up. And so I think you're right. I'm gonna be part of that.
That's amazing. Well, we're approaching an hour. The camera's gonna turn off again. I mean, we could keep going.
We didn't even talk.
I know we can
do this again.
We'll do it again. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.